Welcome to the Ultimate Fantasy Locker Room, starring Rocky DiStefano, Phil Pasquale, Delano Williams, and Mark Mullen, with featured guest former NFL pro Antone Davis. Fantasy football, real results.
What's up, and welcome to the Ultimate Fantasy Locker Room. I am your host, Delano Williams.
Delano's,
and the boys are back.
Delano's feeling froggy today.
I'm feeling a little jumpy. A little jumpy.
Buddy.
Say something. Say something.
We have a good beer tonight, and Delano, you were kind of the guy that brought it in for us.
So I haven't sipped it yet.
Oh, really?
And no, I haven't. So it's great that you guys are telling me what I'm about to enjoy.
Yeah,
and what did you think? I seen you really looking at this label, kind of when he was telling me the stats of Baker Mayfield.
I was just trying to check the alcohol content. It's good.
What do you think?
It's good. It's not the best. It's good.
Yeah, but
though.
he's like
He's kind of
an IPA guy, I think, right?
I mean, I can drink it. It's good.
I was looking at a couple ones.
Would I go buy it again? Probably not.
Okay,
that's a great endorsement. You should put that on a commercial.
I didn't know we were endorsing it.
It's okay. Yeah, I could drink it.
I wouldn't buy it, but
So the beer
Well,
that we're
you
drinking,
got a Corona in front of you.
the beer that we're sipping on. Now stop it. The beer that we're sipping on right now is Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ale from Lexington, Kentucky. Which you guys know I'm a big bourbon drinker. I only drink bourbon, and if I drink alcohol at all. But this right here, I bought it because of that. It's aged in a bourbon barrel, and
give it a swig.
Let me see. I wonder what he.
What? I said it's all right. It's good.
How many of them notes you got in your pad? Probably every week.
Like that? Fuck Mark.
So if I'm going to be honest with you,
What does that say?
this.
I just got to get myself amped up. For the
Hey,
show.
listen, this right here could be one of like my top.
Yeah, no, it's good.
I'm not even. Yeah, for sure.
What is our Gabby? Do you like the
It's
beer?
not my style. It's good though. It's just good beer.
Gabby gives it a thumbs up.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. I really need to know.
I like it.
What do you?
She gives it a, we can't tell
you
where her
really,
thumbs are.
You really want to say? I feel like she really wants to say meh.
Yeah, meh.
Is that what you want to?
Meh.
Oh, okay, fair.
It's not bad. It's just if I'm in the store, I probably wouldn't.
No, and that's the only
But you
reason.
probably
because,
gravitate toward the more fruity drinks.
No, not really.
Yeah.
because I'm.
You guys want
know what?
bourbon.
You know what I had in my hand though? I had George Killian's in my
red.
hand. I did the red. I did.
I'm a big Killian's red guy. I like it.
Did you
I
really?
I don't-
I had it in my hand for a good 3 minutes, and I said to myself, I don't want these guys to think I'm cheap because
I
it's
gotta
only
be
about,
honest with you. I almost became an alcoholic because of Killian's Red.
Really?
man.
I had never found a beer that I loved, and then I liked it.
It is-
and then I liked it too much.
Hey,
So I got a
listen to
place.
this.
Have you BJ's Brew House?
Yeah.
franchise
Oh, yeah.
brew house.
Good
but
place, yeah.
they're red.
Yeah.
really good. I don't know if you have.
Yeah, no,
it's
I
really
have,
good.
and it's great. And Killian's, Tricia had to be like, no more.
Hey, no more.
Yeah.
That's
why are you keeping a case around for like 4 days?
when I got it, when I had it for the first time, I was
Strong
like,
work.
wow, this is actually really good. So it's something to go to that I haven't had in a long time, and I almost bought it. But I was like, bourbon, I'll take bourbon over.
I'm just saying that George knows his way around a beer. I'm just saying.
I don't think I've had it since college. It's been a really long time.
No. It's like every time you have it, it's refreshing. Like this
I
is
bet.
good. This
you
is
probably
good.
go right down memory lane with that.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Sip
You
it.
go.
Oh,
Almost had the Killians, guys.
That was your go-to in college?
Killian's?
Yeah.
No, we were super cheap. That was like when we saved
Natty
up
ice.
all
Natty
all of
ice.
our.
That's what I was about to say. He's anything ice. It's not even natty ice. It's
No,
anything
dude,
ice.
it was
Natty
it was
Light.
Bush. It was Bush. No, it was Bush Light.
Oh, baby.
Bush Light. Awful.
yeah.
Because it was like $9 for a case. So we would send the oldest looking person
Yeah.
around to the store, and he got pinched one night. We're like, what the hell's taking him so long? We gave him like $27. We're waiting for our 5,000 beers to come back. He never came back, and
Natty Ice is like, I don't mean this negatively because I like Taco Bell, but you can go to Taco Bell and get a lot of stuff
No,
for
no,
a
no,
little
no,
bit of
no.
money.
I think Taco
You're
Bell's
right.
a full level above Natty Light. though. I mean,
Yeah, but I
You
mean,
like
what,
Taco
Natty
Bell.
Light. I
Okay,
don't like
so-
Taco Bell. I'm saying it, but Natty Light is like
what
the
would be
bottom
the
of the
fast
barrel.
food equivalent? Would it be Crystal? On Johnson? No.
No, that they got a little. No, not at all.
Give me a
Wow.
hush puppy.
Yeah, and I'm in there. Hey, you know what? I like you.
Crystal.
I mean, Taco Bell's like a bad rap because it's
Crystal.
open late.
Oh,
But there's
no.
places that are way.
I like Crystal. Sorry. I like Taco Bell. I do like Crystal too, but Crystal
White
is
Castle, man. White Castle.
Yeah, they're opening one here.
Yeah,
That's exciting.
yeah, it is.
And they're also opening a Portillo's.
They opened the Ghost Kitchen.
Oh, really?
And they closed down after like 3 days because the demand was so high.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Really?
What's a ghost kitchen?
It's like
you can't come in there and order, right?
People put these buildings up and they just have like kitchens set up.
Oh,
and
yeah,
companies
yeah,
come
yeah.
in and you work out of it.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of a ghost kitchen,
Chili's
let's talk
has one.
about the fan football league.
Fan football league.
Yeah.
Your boy Johnny
Excellent seg.
Okay.
Johnny Cash.
This is a true story. The Cleveland Browns drafted Johnny Manziel #1 on the advice of a homeless person.
Before he goes any
No.
further, I just want to remind that you guys, he loved Johnny Manziel.
I did not love Johnny
Wait.
Manziel. You're so
He
wrong.
loved Johnny Manziel.
I
can
loved him
see
in
it.
college.
It was to the point. Now, you guys remember when he
No.
tells the story about the hotel. He booked the hotel because Johnny Manziel lived there.
No,
you
I
serious?
no.
Yeah,
no.
I can
he
see-
mentioned it.
So
No,
wow.
no, it's not a lie.
It makes
wow.
sense because during the pre-show when we mentioned Manziel, you had this scorn look like an ex-lover. Like we just
Yeah.
brought up like an ex-lover.
He
like,
was all in on
oh.
Manziel.
I liked
Manziel.
I liked Manziel in
Love him.
college. I liked Manziel in college. I did not want the Browns to draft him.
Yeah, sure.
I didn't. And
I remember you were saying he was going to be the best quarterback of that draft.
you're full.
Not full of crap.
You kiss your mom
You
with that
said
lying mouth.
who else? They took the cornerback earlier,
You
right?
kiss your daughter
he said
with that
the Browns. Said the Browns had the best draft they'd had in 10 years.
Oh no, that was a good. It was a good draft.
Yeah,
it was a good draft.
and you highlighted Manziel.
no, come on.
Oh my God,
Who was drafted before Manziel?
it was the cornerback. What's his name? I forget.
No, I'm saying a QB. Who were the other QB prospects that year in the draft?
Blake Bortles.
He was one. He was four. Right?
4, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I like Blake better.
Christian Ponder,
Ponder was sixth or something to Minnesota.
Minnesota, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
This sounds a lot like 2021's quarterbacks.
yeah. There wasn't a lot of good quarterbacks.
They both were better than Manziel, though.
They
so.
were. They by far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, so talk about the fan football.
Well, I mean,
So-
you actually watched some of it.
I
right?
did watch
so
it.
I've
Surprisingly,
only kind of seen it peripherally.
So I'll say this: I didn't know what I was watching when
Yeah.
I was watching. I had no idea what I
think you
was
wouldn't know
watching.
anyway. Any of
What
us,
channel
right?
is it even on? Is it on like the
Not
Oxygen
you. I'm
channel?
saying that, it's kind of like
No, I don't even remember. To be honest with you, I don't remember what channel it was on,
You're
but I
just
ended
flipping
up
through and you're like-
watching.
you kind of woke up and it was on.
kind
You're
of like that,
What
almost.
happened?
And I'm like, okay, this. I thought it was arena football, and then once I seen Johnny Manziel, I
Bad
know he
sign.
used to play like
Yeah.
arena football, but I
Well,
think
no, he fell out of several football leagues.
Well, here's a crazy thing. When I seen him, I was like, "This looks like the lowest of low." Because you know what it reminded me of? Slam ball. Anybody remember slam ball?
no. Oh, well, I remember the name. I don't
You
remember.
remember like everybody's on trampolines and they're
Oh,
dunking and it's
my
like
God,
basketball.
yeah.
It reminded me of that. And if you could understand like the
So who else is in this league? Do we
The
know?
level-
Because I know there's
The
another.
other real headliner is Gordon, but a lot of the owners are pretty. Think Marshawn Lynch, Richard
Josh
Sherman.
Gordon. My gosh.
Did they take like a lot of transitional players from
here's the thing.
from the
Yeah.
lingerie
Here's the thing.
league?
I'm not gonna lie. I think they probably make a good amount of money with doing something like this. It's more on an entertainment level. It's sports, but
Right.
I think it's more of an entertainment. It's 7-on-7.
Yeah. Well,
Plus,
I mean,
plus
they
the
have, like-
fan gets to pick the play, right? Isn't that the
Go
whole
ahead.
thing?
You
Almost
can-
like
I didn't know that at the time I was
Yeah,
watching.
they picked
to
the
be honest.
plays, and then it's 7-on-7, 50 yards. it's recorded in the studio.
I feel like the fans that
But
pick these plays.
here's the caveat: is that the owners they have pretty deep. They have some names. It's Richard Sherman, Marshawn Lynch.
so it's players.
Mike Tyson owns a piece. There's a few. No,
I'd like to
Hey,
play for
don't
Mike
laugh at
Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
No, I'd like to play
Don't
for
laugh
Mike
at Mike,
Tyson.
okay?
I'd like to play
You
for
like
Mike
Mike
Tyson.
Tyson.
I would.
you would
You
have
like
to
Mike
because he
Tyson.
just intimidates.
throw
bitches.
throw the ball
I like Mike
downfield.
Tyson.
All right.
Manziel, throw the ball.
So do you think
Throw it.
like because that's what I think. I think that is every play just
Yes,
like
every play.
a deep pass.
Oh well, it's got to be.
Just go
Well,
for it all. Hail Mary.
He would run for it, but
They go
it,
by
like
the
you said,
majority of the,
No,
with the voters.
what fan is voting for a trap
Yeah.
draw play to
You
the
would be
fullback?
voting. You should be all in on this league. I mean, you're football 24/7, nonstop. When I'm in the bed with my wife, you're texting me about
It's
Harrison
football.
Bryant. Why would you not be into fan control football?
Because every play I'd be trying to throw out Johnny Manziel's shoulder,
Give it 3 years.
like 60-yard bomb,
3 years.
60-yard bomb,
It's
60-yard bomb.
It's a little entertaining.
The moment that there's a fantasy fan football
Oh, yeah,
league, you're
he's
going to be all over
He's
it.
all in.
Yeah.
yeah, you guys are jerks.
No, I think they're right.
But
I think they're right.
You're absolutely right. That's why you're jerks.
All right, I'm going to set up today's show, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll kind of go into it. So what we decided to do was do a revisit to 2020 rookies at the four skill positions. So we're going to be talking about quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and we're going to grade them on what their season was last year and what we think they're going to do this year. And here's our grading scale. Are they going to explode? Are they going to grow? Or are they going to blow? Which one? And we're going to keep some pretty strict time. You're going to do a minute timer for every intro, and then the other 3 will get a chance to talk a little bit about it. We'll set it for 2 minutes. If we don't need 2 minutes, we'll go back to a 1. So I think Delano or Phil, why don't you start with our favorite player, the greatest name in football, Air Bear. Justin Air Bear.
Justin Air Bear. I think Justin Air Bear is going to grow.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think he'll explode. I don't think he'll blow. I mean, I think he had such a. I don't think anybody seen this kind of production coming out of him this year.
I saw it. No.
I didn't.
I didn't either. I mean,
And I think it's one of those things where there's going to be some natural regression here. 66.6%, which is, I mean, great, but in the NFL now is not,
completion percentage, you mean?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Is not, unheard of. 4,300 yards, 31 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. That's great. It's all great. And I don't think he'll be too far off that next year. But I think there's still some things they got to get in place in San Diego. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's only been a year. It's okay.
Tough. I think there's still some things they got to get in place. I like Eckler. I like Kelly. I like the receiving core, but the depth I'm not sure about. I don't love Henry. I don't think he's a difference maker. But I don't think he'll go into. I don't think there's going to be a sophomore slump. And you got a new coaching staff coming in. It's kind of hard to tell from here, but I'll give a safe answer here and say he'll just kind of remain where he is, maybe a little bit of regression.
And that's a long minute.
That is a long minute.
It's not bad.
It's pretty sure it's less.
Did you set it? I don't think you said it.
I did set it.
And you guys were talking. You guys
talked. No, I just said one thing and I shut myself up.
Shut up.
The reality is, if my phone closes back out, it will clear.
Okay, well, you got to keep your phone.
It's so hard. You know how hard this is going to be.
Okay, so wait.
Very hard.
Well, here's another 30
I'm
seconds.
Exactly.
You got more or no?
No, you guys.
I'm going to start. And what do you guys think? I want to say I think you're right in that you can't say explode because where do you go from setting the rookie record in touchdowns? I think it's safe to say there's going to be a little bit of fallback.
And the yardage. I mean, he may have shot his wad, in his rookie season as far as yardage is concerned. I mean, 4,300 yards as a rookie is pretty damn impressive.
Yeah.
And for a dude that, they weren't game planning for Air Bear to come in there. It was Tyrod Taylor's team until that freak accident and, insert Air Bear, and he never looked back. And I remember thinking around week 4, because that was around when they really thought about Tyrod coming back in. And all signs pointed to, all right, they're going to come up with a reason not to bring Tyrod back in.
Why would you?
Because he's playing so well, you can't take this guy out of the lineup.
I've lived through Tyrod in Cleveland. You want to believe him. He's got all the tools. He just holds on to the ball too long. So I didn't fall for that. The moment Air Bear looked good, I knew that he was their quarterback.
Well, you're talking about, forget Air Bear. Tyrod Taylor. He reminds me of a guy that we're going to talk about. Jaylen Hurts.
He actually reminds me of 2 guys we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
Tyrod does.
Okay, I'll make a distinction between the two, but you know what? Let's move on, right? I'm going to go to Jaylen Hurts. So will you set the 1 minute timer and keep your phone up?
1 minute timer going on, please.
Okay, so I was kind of rough on Jaylen Hurts when he first came in. He doesn't look to me to be a true quarterback. He had a 52% completion rate. That's it. Mm-hmm. But if I were to say whether he's going to explode or grow or blow, I'm going to say he's going to explode. Here's why.
Yeah.
1,061 yards, 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions in 4 games.
Yeah.
Extrapolate that over an entire season, and he's hitting pretty close to 4,000 yards, 24 touchdowns. He's going to be interception heavy because he's not an accurate thrower.
Yeah.
But here's the scary thing. 354 rushing yards with 3 touchdowns. If you take that over 16 games, 1,416 yards with 12 touchdowns. Now, do I think he's going to do that? No, but I don't think it's out of the question to think that he's going to rush for 1,000 and he's going to throw for 3,000.
So he's not going to be the next.
No.
He's not. No, he's not. Not Jackson.
Well, he's better. I think he has an opportunity to be better than Jackson. And here's why. Burrows, 10 games, QB1 one time. Hurts, in 4 games, was QB1 for fantasy twice.
Yeah. But here's the stat that really concerns me with Hurts is that in only 4 games, now he was in a lot of gadget plays, right? But in only 4 games, including the gadget plays in the other 12 games that he ended up playing in, he had 9 fumbles. 9 fumbles in only 4 games. So that tells me a lot of things. It tells me that Philly's offensive line sucks. It tells me he doesn't have a lot of weapons. The yardage that he's running for in those 4 games tells me that he's running for his damn life.
Desperate.
You know, and he's getting hit. He's a little undersized, and he's coughing the ball up.
Yeah.
Now, only 2 of those were lost, but extrapolate that across 16 games, he's on pace for 36 fumbles.
So he's Jameis Winston.
You know?
Oh, no.
Basically. What do you guys think?
Man, like I said, he kind of reminds me of Tyrod. I feel like he's a guy that'll be solid. He'll bounce around the league. Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, I think they're going to go get a quarterback. They'll get a veteran or they'll draft somebody. I don't think he's the guy. Could it be a bridge? He's talented, but I just don't think he's a quarterback.
You know, he's being drafted high in some leagues right now.
Well, he'll produce so fantasy-wise, he's going to produce, but...
Is he the quarterback?
No.
Because the difference between him and Tyrod is Tyrod holds on to the ball. He doesn't throw interceptions because he doesn't throw the darn ball. And Hurts is unafraid to throw the ball.
Yes, to put a bow on it, like year to year, he's probably very valuable this year. But Dynasty League, long term, I'm not sure I want to invest a whole lot in him.
Right. Okay. That's a good point.
Yeah. So, man, we finished early, so I'm going to pause this.
I don't think you set the timer, though.
I did.
That's
Hey,
fine.
don't
We're
make me
moving
look
along.
bad.
Let's make a rule. Let's not mention the timer so much.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
I'm going to mention a timer every freaking time.
But
Yeah, 'cause y'all tend to go over a bit.
There are no timers here.
So do you want to set a timer? And do you want to do Burrows?
These are not the timers you're looking for.
Guys, we're all the dubs.
All right, Mark, so go ahead and tell us about Tua. What do you think about Tua?
All right, let's go with Tua. On that ranking scale, Tua's going to blow. I'm sorry. He is. And here's the reason why. All right. Is he going to put up points? Yes. Does he have weapons and the ability to put up points? Yes. But he played in 10 games last year, which I was actually shocked. I thought he played more along the Hurts amount of games. 64%, right? Completion percentage. Not bad. 6.3 yards per attempt.
Yep.
That's pathetic.
I mean,
the lowest out of all of these guys that we're
all of
talking
them.
about.
He is just throwing these dink and dunk passes. 10 games, only 1,800 yards passing. You think the guy would, in college, that injury killed him, man, because his wheels were what got him out of everything. 109 yards rushing, only coughed the ball up once. He had another 3 rushing scores, but only 11 touchdown passes.
How many interceptions?
5.
And time.
Okay, so let's set the 2 minute and rebut.
I have no rebut. I feel the same way he does. I think Tua is a guy coming out of college. Everybody touted his accuracy, how great he was going to be as a passer, and I didn't see it. They had talent out there. I know guys were in and out, but you had guys out there. They have a good coaching staff. I mean, I don't know. Maybe things will change next year.
Here's what I think could change. Because coming out of the draft, if he had not been injured, he would have been the number 1 quarterback taken that year. His injury is a 2-year recovery.
Yeah.
So this year, his wheels should be back up to speed, and that could make enough of a difference. Plus, he gets the opportunity to be in the entire training camp, learning their system. I think they're going to add a player or two, maybe like Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
It could just change, and he could. Now, I do think last year he struggled because he didn't have 8 seconds to throw a pass like he did in Alabama behind their offensive line. But that's my only thing. He could come back some because I think his wheels will be healed up fully.
So, I mean, I'm going to piggyback off. I think exactly what Rocky's saying. it was injured, and it was unfortunate kind of going into.
Yeah.
So I think.
Oh, really
now
unfortunate. I
it
mean,
is-
he was the consensus number one.
Right. That's
pick.
what I'm saying. I think that we have to really gauge,
Yep.
what he can do, what he was doing
Yeah.
with, there is the injury that was involved. And if it is a 2-year recovery rate on this injury, this is the time for him to shine
I mean,
if he can do what he was still doing in
25 years ago, this exact injury took out one of the greatest running backs that would have ever played the game, in Bo Jackson.
Well, there it is.
Man,
And I'll tell you what, just to kind of draw a parallel here, you're going to talk about Burrow next. Is Burrow also played 10 games. He threw for about 800 more yards. He did also attempt about 100 and some change.
that's the.
Obnoxious.
So what that means is he's
I
handing
did
off
not get a phone call from
he's-
1950.
I'm handing off.
He's
I'm
got
trying to hand it off.
he's got a draw play, and here I go. That's exactly
There's
what.
something to subtlety here.
Yeah.
Gotta practice it a little bit.
Hey, now you're stalling me with the draw play.
Hey, our last show was
He's
an
right,
hour
though.
and a half. I'm trying to keep us.
I mean, relax.
So with that, he's nailing it right on the head. If you're looking at Burrows, his plays 800 more. That's a big number. But he's 284 for 404, and you got to think about that's almost 300. If we're going to round that up, Burrows is someone that I think will only grow. I think he was doing great when he was in. If you look at his stats, 6.7 average every time he would at least throw the ball. 268, 2,688 yards. He had 13 touchdowns, and that is only 10 games being played.
Right.
He was on pace to do a lot more, in my opinion. Not only that, with that being said, if they were still in, I think we would have seen them in the playoffs.
So what do you guys feel about that? Is that on the mark?
I do like Burrows. I think what really, really hurt him before the injury was Mixon going out. So you take Mixon, a guy who's in like 80% of the snaps he receives. I mean, we highlighted it quite a few weeks ago. He receives a lot of attention in that offense. So now you bring somebody in that's way inferior in Giovanni Bernard, and now all your escape plays are out the window. Not to mention, we said AJ Green hasn't been himself.
Non-existent.
So you're leaning on Tyler Boyd. And, I mean, T. Higgins, we're going to highlight him a little bit later. T. Higgins really stepped up. I was impressed with T. Higgins' rookie season, honestly.
But to say with that, I mean, this is not like it's his second year and he's depending on AJ Green and he's depending on, these players. It's his first year. So,
Well, they got a lot
Green-
of cap space, and they got a high draft pick. So they're going to fix some of these problems.
Right.
They're probably going to get him a great offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Right.
They might, probably will sign a player. To me, I watched him play a lot last year. He looks the part of an NFL quarterback.
Here's what I like about Burrow, and I'll use Tua again here. I like the way he plays the game.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to throw an interception.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's not afraid. Tua, 5 interceptions. Burrow, 5 interceptions. You look in the difference in yardage. Forget the completion percentage. Tua had 11 TDs. Burrow had 13. But the average and the yardage, and how that offense ran, Burrow's carried that team.
Yes.
There's a distinct, and that's with him playing more loose, throwing the ball around the yard, Tua being conservative with more than 100 less attempts through about the same amount of interceptions.
But do you think that was Tua being careful, or do you think it was the offense?
It may have been him. It may have been the coaching staff.
don't know yet.
We're not going to know until we see them on the field.
Either
this
way,
year.
Burrows is looking like he's going to.
Burrows-
I just like the way he plays. He's not
Burrows
afraid.
was impressive. Like
I've always liked quarterbacks that are not afraid to throw the ball. So if I
not
can
only-
take a quarterback throwing 15, 18 interceptions, if they're, because when you get into a playoff game or a big game,
Brett Favre. I mean,
yeah, exactly. They're not afraid. They're going to be able to make a play,
and they're going to
that a guy
recover
that's
when they do an
conservative
interception.
Is not going to be able to.
Well, and here's the deal too, and I'm a big Browns fan. I would trade Baker Mayfield right now
Yes.
for Joe Burrow.
without a doubt.
And I like Mayfield.
And I like Mayfield. I think he'll have a great career. I think Burrows could be a difference maker.
Well, Burrow also, to prove Phil's point here, Burrows came out how you want to see a number 1 draft pick come out. He took charge of that locker room. He took
smoking
charge.
a cigar and getting money off of the OBJ on the sideline.
Easy.
He took charge of that huddle. I mean,
Burrows
when
will
when somebody let him down, he let them know.
Yeah.
Burrows will, and right now, like I said, I have him for grow. He can only grow here, and it's only up for him. And if you look at AJ Green, he's non-existent. So you start filling that. If once he's gone, you fill that in with receivers that are willing to work.
Yeah, they can't get it worse.
You can't get worse. You can
I
only
like
go
AJ
up.
Green, but he was done.
You can only go up from here. So Burrows,
over.
eventually, hopefully, we can see him explode.
And talk about a guy you hope it's not over for, though. I mean, AJ Green has just been
No, I
such
love
a
AJ,
consummate
but
professional
it's
his whole
over.
entire career.
And maybe, yeah. I don't know.
And you know what's worse about it? It's not like it's an injury or anything.
No,
It's just-
but you know what? It was a couple years of
of
really
injuries,
tough
yeah.
injuries, and I just think he
It's
lost
just-
it.
Yeah.
It's tough. All right, let's move on to the running backs, huh?
Yeah.
What
So
you
who
guys
wants to
think?
go first?
Hey man, let me get Gibson.
Okay, I'm going to set you a.
Yeah, I
Although you
wanted
did good
Gibson.
for a minute.
I wanted Gibson.
Did you
Yeah.
want Gibson? I think we actually had him up a couple weeks ago,
Yeah,
a couple
me and
shows
you,
ago.
yeah,
We had him up.
Yeah, we're big on Gibson.
He's good. He's great.
I'm big, so I'm explode.
uh,
I think Gibson's gonna explode. What
You
do
think he's going to explode? I
Yeah.
think he's going to explode as well. So let's go ahead and get 1 minute on the clock.
All right.
And Gibson, the Washington really needs him.
We went like 5 because I didn't set a timer. I'm just going to say
it's
last
no worries.
time.
It's no worries. Don't worry about it. Hey, Gibson is an excellent player. I think he's an excellent rookie running back coming out of, he's great. If we're looking at his stats, we're looking at Gibson. He's 170 attempts on getting the ball. He is 795 yards. I know it doesn't seem great, right? You look at those yardage, 795 yards, but you have to understand Gibson can also catch the ball out of the backfield.
Yeah.
And he's doing that like on another level where you have 36 receptions, but also with that 247 yards. That's what you want. He's not full running back and he's not full wide receiver to the point where he's splitting that. You add those two together, it's close to 1,000 yards there. And he's not a Kamara. We can say that. But this is his rookie year. He has 7 touchdowns. He averages at least. Oh, don't do this to me.
And time.
In time.
Put it on
Let me get-
vibrate. Listen, do what you do at home. Put it on vibrate. What I'll say is that
Hey,
Gibson,
I heard it was
think
supposed to be.
I think he can be Kamara though, because
And this is-
it's a
Make
little.
this point. This is a good.
It's a little moderate. I mean, I get what you're saying. 795 is a little moderate, but
It is moderate.
But it's opportunity. So he missed some time. He averaged 4.7 yards per carry, and I think that's a real thing because that offense wasn't great.
Correct.
11 touchdowns, 36 receptions,
Right.
247. Like
Huge.
you said, he's a dual. He could do everything.
Well, and he missed how many games? I think he missed at least 3.
top of my head, I don't
and
know.
I don't think he went into the season as a number 1.
He didn't. No.
So it took about 2 games for him to get
At
kind
least
of like
it did.
And we have your guy who's still there that could take some of those receptions away.
McKissick.
McKissick.
Yeah, McKissick. But I think Gibson's a stud.
He is a stud.
I think Ron Rivera's had a stud. And I think
let
he's
me
going
ask
to
you a
ride him the
question.
way he rode McCaffrey.
Yeah.
McKissick
He's a
could
stud.
fill in, but he's going to
And-
let Gibson be the guy.
And if I was to vote on him, I'd say he's primed to explode, right? So
Yeah.
in the correct situation, the
Right.
dude
Yes.
is going to explode.
Well,
sure.
and think about this. Undrafted, right?
yeah.
No,
No, he was drafted
No.
in his 6th.
No,
it was
he's
later.
late. Yeah, it was late. So
You might as well
How did
consider
this
that.
many teams miss him?
Yeah.
And not to mention not that how many of those teams missed them in fantasy football. The people that really did some deep dives knew that this dude was going to be something special.
Yep.
I mean, I was getting him at value, and it was fantastic because he produced exactly how you wanted a dude of that caliber and that kind of hype on him, which was pretty much non-existent at the time, to produce.
Yeah.
And he helped win leagues, quite honestly.
Well, he was almost more of a receiver in college than he was a running back.
It
he
looks
was.
like it.
Yeah,
It
he
looks
was
like
a
it.
converted
Right.
receiver,
Right.
which is,
Yeah. Which isn't unlike what Memphis does. Memphis does that with a lot of their players.
Yeah.
They're the converted wide receiver to running back style.
The thing
players.
about Gibson, not to cut you off, the thing about Gibson is when running the ball, he actually averaged and he's a stud. He's a running back position. He averages less yards than when he's receiving the ball.
Yeah.
And that's what makes him special because not only can he run the ball well, but when it's time to turn it on and flip the script for him, he can actually produce even more. So
his only limitation is McKissick right now.
Yeah. And another guy who kind of did the same thing was our boy JTT.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think you're going to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. Well,
That's a good segue right
that's
there.
a great segue.
Hey, wow, you've done this before?
Professional podcast host
Wow.
segue.
It would have been even better if we were smooth about it and didn't announce that it was a segue.
Yes.
We just went right into it.
Out the timer.
Let's set that timer.
Hold on. One
But it's
second.
all right.
1 second. Hold on. Let me. All right. Go.
I'm ready to go. All right. So we all know, right? I'm a huge JTT fan, right?
Okay.
And now what's throwing me off is you spelled Taylor backwards again for the second straight week. That's
Why, can we just leave
Rocky
that?
is dyslexic.
at least he didn't throw an S on the end of it.
listen.
Reset this timer.
Looks, brains. I got looks.
Can't have everything. No,
getting-
I get it. I get
I'm
it.
getting cheated half a minute here. All right. But we've talked about him at length in previous episodes. So
Credit score is
I don't need to
amazing.
keep going on about him, right? 232 carries, 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns, 5 yards a carry, right? So you get everybody else out. Marlon Mack, not a factor. They're going to let Marlon Mack go. He was injured last year anyway, but now JTT is the guy, right?
Yeah.
Nyheim Hines I think he's a free agent. They might let him go. JTT proved he can catch the ball. The one knock on him coming out of school was he cannot catch the ball. 36 of 39. 36 receptions on 39 targets for almost 300 yards and an additional touchdown. Bring in Carson Wentz, this young team. JTT, take them 6th in your first round.
I think I see the desk kind of.
How do you feel? I
jump
know
up
you
there.
got a little bit going on for JTT. What do you think?
No,
about it?
he's the number one running back the last 4 weeks of the season.
Did you say explode?
I didn't, but
You would explode for him. All right,
He's-
go.
Oh,
Yeah, number
Can we get
one
that
running
again?
back the last 4 weeks of the season. It was I don't understand when the knock on him they keep saying was his receiving. He could catch the ball. It was evident in college. They
Yeah.
didn't throw the ball because they were Wisconsin.
Yeah.
They had a bunch of 500-pound linemen, and they ran the ball. That's what they do.
Right.
But he could always catch. So I think putting it together, I think he's an explosion.
As Wisconsin,
waiting to happen.
I'm hard pressed to even think of a Wisconsin quarterback.
Good reason.
So I mean, that's a good
good
point.
reason for that.
You know, it's like Sean points out about Ohio State. It's that Fat Boy University.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just get in behind them.
I mean, Sean does point that out.
Them
What do you
big
guys
old
think? Are we
guys.
done on JTT? Or we done?
Yeah, I like him. I mean, he's great. I mean, it was a good rookie class of running backs. I think.
Yeah, great.
Any of these guys we're talking about, you can't go wrong. A lot of upside.
So let me ask you guys real quick. Where would you draft him in fantasy drafts right now? Like without having much fantasy
I would
draft
put,
stock going.
Yeah, let me answer that. I would draft JTT. I wouldn't put him in the first round of quarterbacks. I would definitely put him high in the second round of quarterbacks.
Okay, so
for
you
sure.
would running backs.
Running
Running
I'm so
backs,
sorry.
yeah,
What am
yeah,
I
yeah.
saying?
Yeah,
you
so
guys,
I think
you would-
it's the stat right there.
hey, whoa!
And
So-
you're babysitting.
So you're going to do.
I am babysitting. Sit.
You're going to draft CMC first. You're going to draft.
Well, you guys knew I
some of
wasn't
those
high
ones.
on CMC because of the injury.
Right.
But, you guys have convinced me
gonna
this
be
man is a stud.
amazing.
He is a stud. We don't want to switch the conversation and drag this out. But
could.
Justin Taylor, Jonathan, relax.
We're shooting for 1.5 hour shows.
He will definitely be high on the second round. I think there's a lot of running backs that go before him, but he has a lot of promise, in my opinion.
I think
and he's white.
it depends. That's true. I think it depends on your draft. I think it depends on your draft strategy.
It must be great to be able to be racist.
Hey, it's
Get
only
away with
CMC.
it.
No, I say it- I
I'm
say
just
it about
saying
every- I mean, I say
CMC.
about everybody.
Hey, a lot of running backs. Come on.
I was trying to think. I was like, Jonathan Taylor's not white. What the hell is he talking about?
I thought he was talking about CMC.
CMC
Yeah.
now.
CMC.
He rounded back to it.
Yeah, I got lost in that transition. Holy
JT,
shit.
I think it depends on your draft strategy a little bit. But I could see him going late in the first.
Yeah, I can too.
I can
Or
see him going in the second. I don't
early
think
in
he
the
gets.
second.
He
Early in
shouldn't
the
go
second.
get out of the second. No way.
No.
But I mean, if I'm early in the first, I'm probably going to go with a guy like CMC,
Yeah, right.
right? Or I mean, I
But
would
that's the
consider
top.
Gibson.
But that's the top, though. That's the best of the best. Like,
That's what
where
I'm
would
saying,
you
but
put
if
him
I'm
in the
late-
first?
I'm
In the
just saying,
first,
in
right?
the first round, if I'm late in the first, and I need a running back, he might be the. If I'm looking at what's there, if there's a Barkley there, which probably won't be, if I'm choosing between him and Mixon and guys like that.
There it is. There it is. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I'd
Because
probably
Mixon
go
is
with him,
obviously
but
a veteran.
It depends on how it falls. So
So
late first, early second is what
Mixon's
I would say.
value has actually been dropping, which is fantastic
So that's-
because I got to give RT a quick shout out. I got my first TFC draft tonight. I can't wait. 250 draft for the 350K overall prize.
So that's
Looking forward to-
$350,000.
Yeah, to the overall top. To
And
the overall top
he
team.
won't win, but
Well, it's
nice to think about.
It's going to be tough because I'm picking 12th, which kind of stinks.
If you did win, would you drop this show like a bad habit? And say,
Hell no!
after
I
you-
would do this. I would do this show strictly. I'd drop the other job like a bad habit. I'd do this. I don't
actually
care.
would
If
So I
be-
want
I
to
believe
let's put that down on
I
paper.
believe that.
He'll pay our salaries if he
no,
wants.
I ain't talking about paying you fools. I'm just saying I'd want to be.
Well, you got to make the
in
show
front of
go. I mean,
No, what he would do is he would buy the show from Rocky.
$350,000. You can have it. Sold.
Go ahead.
Okay. Let's, Phil, why don't you take us into a little bit of Robinson?
Jamie Robinson.
Jamie
we talked
Robinson.
about him last week. I mean, the guy's great. 1,070 yards, right? 4.5 average. He's right on par with Jonathan Taylor. I mean, Gibson. He's right in the mix with those guys. But what I'll point out about him is he had more receptions than any of these guys. 344 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns, 7 rushing TDs. I love the guy. They got a rookie quarterback. They're going to be playing the short game with LaVisca, whatever his name is over there. And they're going to be getting the ball with James Robinson.
It's French.
He's going to have
I would-
volume upon volume. And he's proved that he could take the carries, the catches. He's not going to miss games, hopefully. Cross our fingers. But I love him. I would take him over Taylor.
Oh.
If I had both of them on the board, I'd take him.
Well, and I think it's.
And it's close.
This sounds
It's
sounds
close.
like an explosion. Is what this sounds
Oh, yeah,
like.
it's an explosion.
I'm going to the 2
sure.
minutes, and I will say I agree that I understand your point, because the one thing that does make me nervous is if they re-sign Hines, you know exactly what, and it's
Right.
only a 4-game segment with JTT where he set the world on fire.
Right.
Robinson,
Is
when he had the ball, he ran like a freaking man. He
And the
didn't care.
Dude came out
Rocky
of nowhere.
loves men.
Man, I do. I love men,
and
women.
he don't care.
that's when we need the crickets there. We need the
There's one
crickets.
thing Rocky knows: it's a man. Go.
He's
Oh,
a man.
my.
He's a man. So, are we ready to go on? Or we
he
want
totally derailed him from the point
all
he
right.
was making.
It's okay.
Well, it was a.
We
good
get the point.
That's a good point.
Yeah, you got to catch. You catch it.
He passed the eye test when he carried the ball.
That's for sure.
Carried
Yeah.
the ball. Well, you're talking about carrying the ball. Let's talk about receiving the ball.
I did.
And by receiving the ball, let's talk about Justin Jefferson.
Segue.
Well,
We got to get to.
No,
we got to
wait,
stick with the
still
got
running.
more
we
running
still
back.
got running
We're
back.
not getting back
Wait,
in
hold
this.
on.
We're
How
done.
drunk are you?
We
We're
know,
done.
dude.
We're
We
done.
Okay,
know.
Did you take
we,
another Adderall?
we know how high on Justin Jefferson you are.
I'm going to bring us back to running back. Set
Yeah,
me a minute timer.
Hey,
Let's go to. I think maybe, honestly, quite possibly, as far as the stats, could be the best running back, and it's J.K. Dobbins. So 15
Why? Where did he
games.
come from?
yeah.
Well, the Ohio State, but
Oh, here we go.
15 games.
The-
That was for that was for
Why?
you, viewers.
He ran 805 yards, but he had a 6-yard average,
He did.
9 touchdowns rushing, right?
9 touchdowns,
Yeah.
18 receptions.
Tell them, the stat you don't want to tell them.
Yeah, right.
Go.
Right.
The
18 receptions.
Yeah, but this is why. If you look at his last 4 games, right? He averaged 88 yards and 5 touchdowns in his last 4 games. So if you extrapolate that over a whole season, he runs for 416.
I think you're done.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
That was the 2 minutes from James Robinson before he derailed me. But
Well, I think that's
The timer doesn't apply to me.
There's a fat lady singing.
I wait for no timer. He would have rushed for 1,400 yards and almost, gosh, what was that? Well,
my
it would have been 20 touchdowns, but that average is not possible. But here's the deal, too. They talk about his receiving. They didn't throw him the ball.
No.
At Ohio State,
What's going to change?
in his 3 years, he had 22, 26, and 23 receptions in 12 games. This guy can catch the ball, and I think this year they're going to mix him in. First of all, he's a number 1 back. Ingram's gone. They're going to just recognize what he is. I think he is fixed to explode.
And here's a guy for me. I'm going to wait until the offseason unfolds a little bit to see how the pecking order shakes down, because you're talking about, all right, so last year you had Mark Ingram, you had Gus Edwards, you had
Gus
Justice Hill, you had Lamar Jackson, you had J.K. Dobbins, and there was another running back that I can't think of his name. But you had 6 guys in the mix competing for touches, right? We already know Ingram's out, right? Lamar is going to run the ball. We know they're not going to take the ball out of Lamar's hands. Right. He looks like a goddamn video game every time he touches the ball, right?
Old school
he's
Mike Vick.
Impressive. You know what? I'm a huge Mike Vick fan. Lamar Jackson is more athletic than Mike Vick.
But he's not a better thrower. But
he's not. He's definitely not a better thrower. He's not as accurate. But you give Dobbins the chance to be the dude, and I think Dobbins could be him. And there was a lot of hype coming into Dobbins last year, but Baltimore does what Baltimore does. Baltimore is one of only two teams that commits to the run. Them and Tennessee. Those 2 teams commit to the run. They run more than they pass, and you can't have one dude doing all that running on a run-first offense because you are just going to break him down.
So, real quick, because you didn't say, is it explode, grow, or?
I think he explodes, and here's why. Why not? Like, why can't he be the only back? They do it. I mean, we do it with Tennessee. Henry was the back.
He was.
This guy was a 2,000-yard rusher his final season at Ohio State. He can handle the load.
Yeah.
So I think that if you give him...
Especially if you explode, he better be able to handle the load.
To me, it's with Harbaugh, he kind of has a track. He has a track record. I mean, it's kind of been like that committee. The last guy that really toted the rock for them was Ray Rice, and it took a people's elbow to take him, get him off the right hook.
So you compare him to Derrick Henry. You talk about passing the eye test. I mean, look at Derrick Henry and look at every other running back in the league. There ain't a single running back built like Derrick Henry.
That's fair.
That guy is built to tote the rock that much.
Okay, so let's go to, you want to cover Akers.
I guess I'll go to Akers.
So we're going to go into Justin Jefferson.
No, Justin Jefferson is on the shelf.
Shut your mouth.
Shut up, sir. Shit.
We should make him go last for wide receivers, too. We should make him hold on. Next up, tight ends. We're going to explore kickers.
I think Akers is going to blow. I think Akers is going to blow. Okay? We just talked about Dobbins. Dobbins had 10 less carries, 200 more yards.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
7 more touchdowns. They had about the same in Akers averaged a little bit more on the receptions. But that's about it. And I think with Stafford coming in, Stafford has never really played with a back. They're going to cater that offense around Stafford. He's going to throw the ball around. So maybe there's an uptick with Akers' receptions and all that. But, yeah, I mean, as far as this list goes, I have him far out of the first 2 rounds. He's 4th round guy to me. If somebody's drafting him early, to me, it's a throwaway of a pick.
It's funny that you mentioned the 4th round because so early on in these drafts, his ADP was around the 4th round. Then the hype train started. So now you start seeing Akers going in the 1st and 2nd round. I know we've been on this. You and I have been on this kick where we've been agreeing a lot lately. I'm actually going to disagree here.
Don't do it
because I don't like it either.
I need this.
So
don't do it.
Akers had a small sample size, right? Because he came into the season injured.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was hampered in the very beginning of the season.
Yeah.
It was Malcolm Brown. It was Darrell Henderson. It was some other fool, right? And Jared Goff, a quarterback, right? They were not moving the ball effectively. Now you bring in a guy like Stafford, and he's going to be happy as hell to play with a running back finally that's capable of catching the ball because Stafford does like to go through his progressions. With that being said, the Rams do like to throw the ball to their backs out of the backfield. They just haven't had one since they let Gurley walk. So I think Akers has a and I'm not going to say he explodes, but I think he's got room to grow. He is going to he is your legitimate boom or bust. He is either going to take these carries and turn them into yards. He's going to take these receptions and turn them into touchdowns, or he is just going to suck.
I disagree on the carries. I think there's optimism. I agree with the optimism on the receptions, but it is kind of an unknown.
Yeah, I do think it's possible that he could grow.
Yeah. And it's going to largely depend on how Stafford can move that ball around. But,
Yes,
I mean, they have Cooper Kupp. They have Robert Woods. They have, he should be able to open up that offense to allow Akers to run.
No. I was agreeing. Just agreeing.
So last player we'll cover in running back, and then we're going to mention a couple that we haven't talked about. But the last one is Swift.
Oh, yeah.
And, I know you're a pretty big fan of Swift. You were a pretty big fan of Swift. Here's what I didn't like about Swift. last year. He only had 521 yards rushing, but he had 8 touchdowns, which is really strong. He added another 46 yards receiving for 357 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he did that only playing 13 games, and in 7 of those, only getting single-digit rushing attempts. And I mean single, like 5, not like 9. He only hit 9 one time.
Well, Adrian Peterson turned back the clock in the beginning of the season.
You're right.
Sure did.
But he's special.
To me, I think that Jared Goff's going to come. He's not the greatest quarterback. He's going to be working around an inferior line. I do think he's going to have Galladay. I think they're going to franchise him. Yep. And I think that what's going to end up happening is he's going to be throwing to his running back even more. Mm-hmm. Plus, I think he's going to be rushing. He'll be the lead back. There won't be any AP. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to explode this year.
And what I'll just dovetail off that real quick and pass it on. That's great news because I'm looking at our list here. He had more receptions than any of these running backs we mentioned.
Yep. With room to grow.
The 12 or so wide receivers we're going to mention next, he had more yardage than half of those guys. Yeah. Right? So, I mean, if you're talking about him getting more dump-offs, more action out of the back, I love it. And then let's take those Adrian Peterson games out at the beginning of the season and give him a few more carries. I mean, this guy is explode-worthy.
Yeah.
Not only 15 so I'm going to piggyback off of,
there's a lot of piggybacking.
Because you can carry the load. Yeah. What I'm saying is Swift, you got to understand what you're saying. That man was injured too. Yeah. So to have more than to have that many running backs that you're that more ahead of with taking an injury.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these guys I think that we've mentioned didn't have injuries. So yeah, you're right. Swift is going to be the guy. I think he's going to explode so much. You might need 2 towels, but that's where we're at.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me slide down this slide last and squeeze the lemon here.
Can you make it down?
Remember that game? Okay. I might be able to. Yeah. So I didn't even write down Swift stats. Instead, I wrote down Todd Gurley stats, and here's why.
You're smart.
Here's
no.
Here's why. Here's why.
I know what you're going to, yes.
Todd Gurley had his 2 best seasons prior to injury with Jared Goff.
Oh, wow.
And the reason being is because Goff likes to check down to his running back.
Well, he's desperate to get the ball out of his hands.
Yeah.
He doesn't like to be hit.
Bro. He's a real bro.
So in 17 and 18, Gurley, before the injury, 168 targets over 2 seasons, 123 receptions for 1,300 receiving yards. Tack on an additional 2,500 rushing yards. You give Swift at this age with 2 good knees that opportunity. I think Swift he's primed to explode. 3 towels.
Well, to be honest with you, if he didn't have 2 good knees,
he might need a shower.
You need the curtains.
But you're right. If he didn't have 2 good knees, he would probably blow. So
that's right.
Let's just.
So why don't you mention? Why don't you mention the next 3 running backs that we didn't mention?
Oh, 3.
There's 3.
Yeah. So guys, that you
quickly, please. Mark.
Yeah, you have to mention 3 other guys, right? So you have to mention CEH because he got off to a great start.
Yeah.
What I don't like about CEH is you got Dame Dash coming back this year. Damien Williams,
Dame Dash.
He looked the part the last half of the season in the super. That's why I call him Dame Dash. Do you know who Dame Dash is?
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, this is here. That's there.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
If CEH is the guy, then I like him. If he's not the guy, I don't like him because that offense is going to spread the ball around. They're finally going to get rid of Sammy Watkins, which means Mecole Hardman comes in more often. You've got 2 of probably the top 5 fastest receivers in the league, including the best tight end in the league. Where does the ball go?
I mean, Scotty's, questions that.
Yeah. No, we're going to see. We're going to see in the offseason.
Yeah. Well, but you just throw Scotty Miller in the top 5 then. And there's 2 other guys.
But that's
2 of the top 5.
Okay. And then the last 2 you wanted to say real quick.
Okay, so A.J. Dillon, you have to mention A.J. Dillon because all of Green Bay's other backs are up for free agency. So that is an awful lot of touches to potentially put into Dillon's hands. Yeah.
He'll be at least the number 2 back, even if they sign one.
But more than, I think they're going to trust
He'll be
Dillon.
The guy.
And Zach Moss. So Zach Moss looked great at the end of the season. Sure did. You get Singletary out of there. You don't sign anybody. You have your cold weather back playing in cold weather the majority of the year, a pounding back. You're not going to ask Zach Moss to catch the ball because you don't need to. You got Stephon Diggs. You got Cole Beasley underneath.
Yeah. I agree.
Zach Moss.
Before we get into the wide receivers, let's just
power back.
We have about 15 up there.
Yeah. We have a lot.
Let's
there were a lot of great.
we got to really trim the fat here.
We want to
guys,
trim the
okay?
fat. I'm good at trimming the fat.
So that's why I set the timer, but you're anti-timer.
No, but because it's just a
You're an
little, it's a little
anti-Timite.
obnoxious.
It's not obnoxious,
Anti-Timite.
intrusive. It's intrusive.
It's also intrusive,
All right.
but it's obnoxious.
It's intrusive because you guys won't shut the hell
No,
up.
I mean the time. I mean, just control
I think
yourself.
we've been doing well, but with doing well, you know who else has been doing well?
Let me start this off by saying Justin Jefferson.
Wow,
I want
he's
to talk
pretty
about
good.
Justin Jefferson.
You took all his fire.
Wow,
He's
Wow,
gonna
you're
cry
a-
now.
You're a piece of work. You know, you're a real piece of work. Hey, listen here.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about Justin Jefferson. We already know. We spoke about him a couple weeks ago. Justin Jefferson is being the rookie. Let's look at his numbers
Explode,
once
bro.
again. He's going to explode.
Okay.
He's going to explode.
He's
Look
gonna
at there-
keep-
who
he
else-
exploded
who else is-
last year.
Who
He's
else
gonna
is
keep-
there?
Does he have
with
anything
him
left?
to explain?
Only
No, there's
question.
not much. Well, actually,
He's drinking a ton of orange juice. He's
So
got a
what-
lot in the tank.
that's pineapple juice. What we're really looking for Justin Jefferson is to not have a sophomore slump.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking for because
He's been
what he has
terrible
delivered
slumping.
has been 1,400 yards. That is second. If we're looking at just receivers, if you're not looking at receivers and you add in tight ends, obviously he'd be in third, but he's not in third. We're looking at clearly wide receivers, and wide receivers
Second,
wise,
yeah.
this man is number 2 with 88 receptions, 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns. He averages about 15.9 yards.
yeah,
That
16 yards a
is- let's
catch.
give him
Yeah.
16. Let's just round it up.
Give him a
Let's
round
give him
of
16.
applause.
This guy will explode. He has 1 fumble out of the entire season
Yeah.
that he's played.
Solid. It was
125 targets. This man will be. For having. And here's the thing, I don't think with not having a true quarterback in Minnesota, the sky is the limit for this guy. Because if they do plug someone in there that can actually work this man, he will be the guy. If
Any-
he's not always the guy.
Anybody
what do you
think
guys
he's
think?
not? Anybody think he's not going to explode?
No. I think he's going to explode, and here's why. He was number 2 with only 88 receptions.
That's crazy.
Diggs had 138.
Yep.
I think this guy could catch another 20 or so passes. He, honest to God, could set some kind of record as a receiver.
Right.
And the other thing is, too, I can't recall, and I watched a decent amount of Minnesota games this year. I can't recall him dropping a ball at all either. He's pretty sure-handed.
Yeah, it seems like it because that would be.
I mean, he was 88, 125 targets, 88 receptions.
125.
Yeah, but that
I
doesn't
mean,
that doesn't
I'm not saying he
transition to
dropped them.
drops.
I'm just
but
saying, yeah. So
that's still pretty
the only
good.
thing we can really look at. I mean, I know there's a drop rate, but I don't have it in front of me.
Well, they
I
didn't
don't
add
either.
it because he's done that
But
terrific
I'll
to
say,
explode.
just to make a point on what you, because I think he's going to explode. I'm a little, who's going to be the quarterback worries me because you're saying Cousins is above average quarterback. He's not mobile or anything, but he's a good quarterback.
Right.
He's not bad. I mean, there's a bunch
Correct.
of
No,
guys
you're
in the
right.
league
I
right now
agree.
that are not as good
Correct,
as
correct.
Cousins. So that's the only thing that would worry me a little bit about him. But this guy's so talented. Yeah, I mean, he's still going to be.
So
a stud
here's
for
a
you.
kicker.
He dropped 3 catchable balls last season.
Wow, that's crazy. That's just letting you know that man has he's got all state hands.
He's
So
got the mitts.
here's the kicker. With that being said, and I'll give you guys a moment, look at there not being a quarterback, right? So let's not attribute his sophomore slump to them not having a quarterback next year. And I'm saying that now because I know that's what will happen. We will consider him having a sophomore slump when really it wouldn't be his fault if they don't give him a
but what
competent
happens if
quarterback.
they get Russell Wilson? Like, I mean,
Well,
God
that's
forbid.
different. God forbid
Yeah,
they
God
get
forbid they
someone
got-
like that.
know?
Yeah. So what do you think, Mark?
he's a difference maker. I mean, you can tell, right? You can look at dudes that are really, really good, and you're like, it doesn't matter where this guy goes, who's throwing to him. Terry McLaurin, we said it last week. Doesn't matter who's throwing that guy the ball. The guy's got talent. He's going to get his catches. Allen Robinson had Mitch Trubisky thrown to him for the last couple of years. He catches. They find ways to get him the ball. Justin Jefferson is your focal point, and the great thing about it is they have another focal point. They have Dalvin Cook. Yeah. I mean, they're going to get the ball to Dalvin Cook, which means people have to worry about Cook. And then guess what? You throw another superstar like Jefferson at him.
Yeah.
You give me
We're
the tomahawk.
explode. And we're moving on to T. Higgins.
There it is.
Right?
Yeah.
And T. Higgins is actually another receiver that I think is going to explode this year, too. 67 receptions, 908 yards, 6 touchdowns. The team loses, I believe. They're not going to re-sign A.J. Green. They lose 47 receptions, 523 yards, and 2 touchdowns right there. He has a full training camp with Joe Burrows.
Yeah.
I don't know if Joe Burrows is going to be ready for the first part of the season, but I think they expect him to be back at some point. I think T. Higgins was another bright spot, and I'm going to say he's going to explode.
And that's Burrow with a W, but
Burrows.
I agree. And Boyd, that's what we were talking about earlier. I think solid wide receiver, but the difference, T. Higgins showed playmaker ability,
Yep.
big play ability, and I think he could explode. I don't know if he will. I'm a little hesitant because I don't know the status of Burrow, when he's going to come back, and I don't remember their backup's name. He played pretty well, but he had a few down weeks. I think it limits him a little bit, especially if you're drafting him early.
Yeah.
You might miss out on some points early on, but besides that, I mean, I think he's...
Their offense is a kind of a question mark right now. So you have Burrow coming back from injury. You have Mixon coming back from injury. You have A.J. Green that's going to move on. They don't have a solid tight end, and I'm not sure what's going on with Boyd. I think Boyd might be a free agent too. So, I mean, my question with Higgins is, can he be the dude? If he is legitimately the only star on the field at the time, can he be the guy that can handle the load? And I don't know. I mean, last year he showed it. I mean, with, a rookie quarterback and then a backup quarterback behind a rookie. I mean, he had a great season. Right. I was totally surprised by Higgins.
Well, and if you look at his stats, they were heavy toward the end.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
So he really had a great last,
and that was
10
without
games.
Burrow.
Yeah. So, all right. Why don't we move on to the next one? Phil, do you want to take your favorite guy?
It's not my favorite guy, but
He's your favorite. You said he's the best receiver.
I like Claypool.
How much do you like him? Do you explode for him?
I think he's going to grow. I think there was a little bit of, touchdown thing. I think he had a few big games, and they re-signed Roethlisberger. There's nothing dynamic there.
There's a lot of people in the way, though.
There is. But
that's a great
Juju's
point.
gone. I think Juju's gone, right?
You think Juju's gone?
No, Juju's gone.
Okay, we can say that.
So I think it's 1A, 1B with these two
So
guys,
where's it gonna be?
Deontay Johnson and Claypool. I mean, 109 targets last year. That was with Deontay there. That was with Juju there. They don't have a guy at the tight end position. He's averaging over 14 yards per reception, 9 touchdowns.
And Rudolph
He had
is
that
there,
big game.
right?
Rudolph? Kyle Rudolph?
Would he not be? I mean, their quarterback. Who's their quarterback?
No, Ben
Big Ben
Roethlisberger.
Roethlisberger.
Yeah, but if we're not talking about Roethlisberger,
Mason Rudolph?
No, well,
if we're not
they
talking about
re-signed him today.
Yeah, but they re-signed.
Yeah, but doesn't mean he's gonna play like that.
No, like what? He played terrible last year and he put up these numbers.
That's horrible. Then that's a bad business decision. Because
No,
Rudolph,
that's fair, but it can only be-
definitely-
I mean-
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, it's
I
true.
understand what you're saying. But with that being said,
I know, but the way this works is I open with 30 to a minute, and then you say that. Or you say
I thought you were over your minute.
No, I wasn't done.
You don't know that the timer.
why we
The
don't
timer
know.
didn't go off.
Go
There's
ahead.
no timer. It's
Anyway,
it's chaos.
I think he's
See, that's
grow.
why we need to have
There's
timers.
no timer.
I
It's
think he's
chaos.
grow because I think he will be as good as he was last year, maybe a bit better. I don't think he'll have a 4 touchdown game though, so
Fair.
it takes a little bit of that upside away. But I do think he's a guy they tried to get the ball out
Yeah.
out of
course.
the backfield
Yeah.
on reverses. So he's going to get his touches, and they're going to try to work him into the offense. It'll be Deontay Johnson and Claypool.
Oh, what about? Is it my turn?
I don't know. If
Yes.
you want, if you
So
want to
I
go.
just wanted to say,
Yeah.
Roethlisberger. Yeah, let's re-sign him. But how well did Roethlisberger do last year? I don't know if it's just hey, we saw you crying. Here's another
Honestly,
contract.
Roethlisberger is better when he's drunk and trapping women in bathrooms. I'm
Maybe
sitting out there.
that's where he needs to be. But outside
year-
of that, I'm just saying Rudolph didn't do too bad when he was playing in
Last
most
year,
of the games.
last
wasn't-
year he pledged. He said, "I'm on the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
It's football or
All right,
nothing."
let's give it to him. I like second chances. So all I'm saying is, with that, is it really going to change for Claypool?
They believe in.
Well, he had a
in
great
Mason.
year, so it doesn't have to change, and it'd be great.
They believe in Mason Rudolph. But here's one thing I say about Claypool: he's 6'4", 240 pounds, runs a 4.4.
He's huge.
And he didn't drop balls.
No, no.
He passes the eye test with Juju gone, which I agree with you.
Yeah.
That's another what? How many passes?
How much was it? We were surprised by how many.
He had 97
90.
catches,
Yeah, I
which
mean,
means he had probably had
even
like
if you-
130
yeah,
targets.
You cut that in half.
Right. Even if he
Right.
takes
He's over 100
Yeah.
receptions.
well, at the very least, he's probably getting another 40 targets.
Right.
So to me, I think he's going to grow.
Well, depending on who they bring in. right?
That's fair.
So I mean, or James Washington, because James Washington's going to fill out that 3 role as of right now.
Yeah. And James Washington is a solid receiver too.
James Washington is, and he's had flashes of brilliance in the past.
Yep.
Deontay Johnson. I mean, I remember distinctly one week you highlighted like that he was in the doghouse. He didn't play an entire half. Yeah. If that dude can keep his head on straight, Deontay Johnson he's a difference maker.
It's a big if.
Right.
It's a big if.
It's a
So
big if.
if he can't, I mean, who's the beneficiary? It's Claypool, without a doubt. 6'4", 240, 4'4", 40. Come on now.
You know who the biggest
That's a lot of
benefactor
fours
is?
in there.
CD Lamb. Why don't you talk about CD Lamb?
Oh wow, what a transition.
So CeeDee Lamb,
Call out everything. Huh?
I'm just waiting for a timer to go off now. Crying out loud. You
can't
guys
set
keep
the
ruining
timer.
my first
Now-
30 seconds.
Hey, you're the one that
You're
can keep
ruining
me
Mark,
going.
you talk.
All right,
now
here we
it's
go.
your turn.
Not too long though.
CeeDee Lamb, as a rookie, what did he do? He only caught 74 balls, 111 targets.
A lot more than you. Yeah.
Yeah, well, thankfully.
And you're trying.
I caught
Yes, you're
Yeah.
continuing.
Anyway.
You're boxed in.
111 targets, right, in that offense with Doggy Lipstick, Red Rocket, Andy Dalton throwing the ball, right?
Danucci.
wow.
And Danucci.
I mean, and Benny DiNucci.
Danucci.
DiNucci eating his minestrone, coming out throwing some balls. CD
You
Lamb's
took it too-
away.
you took it too
Oh,
far.
wow, you're not really from Jersey.
You sound like you're
Minestrone.
from Michigan.
Wow,
Anyway,
Montana.
So Amari Cooper had a great season last year, right? CeeDee Lamb, as a rookie, filled in fantastic as a second receiver. And let's not forget, they don't have a slouch as their third receiver in Michael
Nope.
Gallup.
Right.
And they have a running back that demands the ball in Ezekiel Elliott. So to have 111 balls thrown his way is fantastic as a rookie.
It's a dream.
Catching 74, 935 yards, 12.6 yards per catch, right? Huge. That's a first down every catch.
Yeah.
5 touchdowns. He can improve. 1 touchdown on the ground, and I think he also had a kickoff return for a touchdown. So that shows that he's dynamic, right? So this dude is primed to explode. You bring back, hopefully, Dak Prescott, because I think Dak really deserves that shot. If not, like Phil said, it's Jerry Jones is getting old, right? And Jerry Jones wants to win another championship
Not gonna happen.
before he kicks the bucket.
Not going to happen.
No ill will towards you, Jerry Jones. Sorry.
Yeah, but you're not
getting
gonna
old.
win.
Mark, we're going on 2 minutes, but go ahead.
Told you.
You took away my first
timer.
This is what-
You took
you
away.
took-
You said CD Lamb 5 times.
I mean, you were talking so
So-
much. Rocky was looking up best corn dog in the area. I don't know.
I do like a good corn dog. Hey, I do like.
Can I
a
be
good
honest with you? I hate to do this. Y'all messed up. Corn dogs are slapping.
Oh,
God, they're the best thing on earth.
No,
Why
can I
are you
be
thinking
honest
about
with
it
you?
right now?
How about that transition? CD Lamb to corn dogs.
Right now, I'm
Crying
getting
out
a
loud.
little bit excited about a corn dog
Dude.
mixed with a tortino.
With a Totino.
Listen.
Pizza roll.
Oh wow.
Could
Corn
you wrap
dogs.
a pizza roll around a corn dog?
You could just take a turkey baster and inject it in.
Oh wow, you look like you got all the answers.
He knows his way around a corn dog.
Continue.
I might not. Is there
Continue,
something wrong with
continue.
that?
I can't.
Rocky?
This is too interesting. I can't continue on.
He's interested.
Okay, what do you guys think about CD Lamb?
CeeDee Lamb looks like a beast. He looks like he has all the weapons. I mean, all the attributes to be a quarterback.
Yes.
Of a second. And here's this. I'd go as far as to say if
He's stuck on quarterback.
Running wide receiver.
wide receiver.
Adderall.
Listen, it's not the Adderall. It's the corn dogs. Listen.
He's got corn dog on
Listen,
the brain.
as far as CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver, I'd go as far as to say is if there was not an Amari Cooper, he could possibly look like a number 1 more so than number 2. To have a guy like that as the number 2,
Yeah.
you
Yep.
already know. And I have to be honest, I don't like Dallas.
Yeah.
I'm not a
No, I'm
Dallas
with you,
fan.
and I feel
so
the same
with
way
that
about Lamb.
being said, it's only going to be that much worse when we get a quarterback of not a substitute teacher with Red Rocket. You know what I'm saying? Right now he's playing the substitute teacher role, and he is still making these guys look amazing. So everyone's doing their part. CeeDee Lamb is the truth, and I think
couldn't-
that he can do it. So I think he will explode.
I couldn't add anything to that.
Well, I'm going to
Say
say,
again?
I'm going to transition it here. The CeeDee Lamb being the second wide out is the guy you wanted to talk about, Mark. Jerry Judy, who wasn't supposed to be the second guy, but you had a guy Hamler who showed up some during the season. You got a guy called Charles Sutton who's coming back.
Yeah, Sutton's coming back. So what's crazy to me about Jerry Judy, and you have to mention him because everything that you read on this guy and you watch the tape, they're already calling him one of the best route runners in the NFL after his rookie season.
It's a route, but okay.
And route,
It's a route. I mean, we're not driving a car somewhere.
Minestrone, whatever. It don't matter.
It's not a trail.
So anyway, Jerry Judy being an excellent route runner.
Listen, continue. Man.
So anyway, Judy has a very, very good skill set, right?
Yeah.
Asking a rookie to step into the wide receiver one role is a very tough task, especially when you have Drew Lock throwing the ball, right? So Judy had 52 catches on 113 targets, and he only had 5 drop balls. So that's 57 balls potentially that he could have caught. So you're looking at 56 errant passes his way from Drew Lock, right? That is inconsistency at its finest.
Right.
That's more errant passes than actual passes thrown his
So
way.
what do you say he is? You going with he can grow some, or
he
is that
can-
man
No,
blows?
he definitely doesn't blow. He has room to grow. I'm not going to say he explodes because I don't know what Denver's going to do with their quarterback.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's
There's
not
so much
it's not
if
Drew
in
Lock.
Denver.
But here's the thing: even if Drew Lock stays or another quarterback comes in, what he did last year as the second receiver, basically, right? Sutton comes back. I think he's the number one.
Yeah, Sutton proved
Yeah.
himself to be a true number one the year before.
So maybe Hamlin takes a little drop off, and Judy does the same.
Yeah.
I don't see Judy going up
Right.
unless they get a guy
Right, they need a guy.
that's going to be able to,
Well, I mean,
a real gunslinger.
so accuracy is going to be the key there, right? So there's room to grow. So if he had 113 targets there, he's going to be the clear-cut number 2. And it's a matter now of, just like CeeDee Lamb. He's got that potential. Can the quarterback get him the ball? And if he can, he's going to produce. Because, on only 52 catches, he had 856 yards.
So for a team led by one of the greatest all-time quarterbacks in the NFL, they cannot find
He
a
cannot
freaking
find-
and you know what? He endorsed Drew Lock.
Oh,
But I think Drew Lock has thing. I don't think it's over for Drew Lock. Like, I think there's something there.
Right.
Drew Lock was
I
at
think
Washington
it takes
State, right?
Yeah, I think they need the right coach. He needs to be refined, but I think he has all the tools.
You can't
his
teach
arm,
accuracy.
and I think he also has the composure, or the moxie to be a quarterback. I think he could throw the ball. I think he's not afraid to throw the ball.
But
Can make all
sometimes
the throws. I think somebody needs to rein him in a little
that's
bit.
it. That's what I'm looking for. Sometimes it's
So-
not just about the skill set of the player. He
But
has
that being
that.
said,
Sometimes they
he's
need to be
probably out.
coached in such a way where they need more of an outside influence
Yeah,
to
his
help them
problem is
become.
he thinks he's Brett Favre,
Right.
But he's throwing like Gardner Minshew.
Speaking of Gardner,
Yeah. Well, there we go. Look at that.
I mean,
The last one we're going to cover, and then we're going to mention a couple other receivers.
Was that a transition?
It was a beautiful transition.
Wait,
he didn't
hold
let me
on.
finish it, but yeah.
Wait,
Laviscus Chenault.
Chanel.
Laviscus?
Chanel.
There he goes with that S again at the end.
Chanel.
Laviscus.
Levis.
What should it be?
Yeah.
LaVisca? Laviscus.
Is it Leviscus?
It rhymes with biscuit.
It's
Oh,
Lavisca.
we're not talking about Trubisky, though.
Lavisca Chenault, and I think he's going to grow next year. 58 receptions, 600 yards, 5 touchdowns. What I do love about him is that after the catch, he's pretty a special player.
He got that yak.
Yeah, he caught a lot of shorter passes.
He definitely got
because
that yak.
He does, yeah. He caught a lot of shorter passes because they threw a lot more deep ones to DJ Shark. But I think that he's going to kind of mix into that number one role next year. I think they're going to be working with a rookie quarterback, but I do think he's a good rookie quarterback. So I think he's going to grow next year.
What do you think about that?
Oh, well, I mean, yeah. I feel like rookie quarterback, the guy caught a lot of his passes close to the line of scrimmage. He turns them into things. They're going to want to give Lawrence a soft landing. You know more about Urban Meyer than me, but I mean, it's a good coach. It's going to be a good coaching staff. They're going to know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think so.
I wouldn't be
think
surprised
Urban's a
if
better
they
pro coach.
I wouldn't be surprised if they draft another wide receiver high in the first 3 rounds either.
Yeah.
To pair him up because they're probably going to lose Shark, right? They're losing Shark.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think so. He's a free agent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think
Potentially.
he'll explode, is what I think. And I'm the Jags offense. I don't know about the defense, but that offense I think is going to be a gold mine this year. Like I said, James Robinson is going to explode. I think Chenault will explode. And I think whoever they draft as the rookie right-out is a guy you want to grab maybe in a dynasty league.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, just to kind of dovetail off that, Chenault, I think, can only go up from here because Jacksonville's admin came out last year with him as a rookie and just flat out said, we have to get the ball in this guy's hands. Yeah. And that's why you saw so many passes close to the line of scrimmage, because maybe he's not the greatest route runner right now, or route runner, whatever you want to call it. So
it's route.
It's route, but yeah.
So they're gonna try to get him.
Corn coon.
Whoa.
It is
Route route.
It's route. But go ahead. You got to run your routes.
Yeah. Not your roots.
For the roots.
Almost like you're a newspaper person
band,
and you
actually.
have routes.
So if
to
you're
run.
traveling Jersey, do you go down Route 9 or Route 9?
You're from Jersey.
Yeah, man. That's
So
why
it's
it's
Route
a little
9.
more
It's a route. Yeah, you drive a car on it.
Like it's weird.
A route.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
where you drive your car.
It's spelled the same way.
Yeah, but it's a
You've
route.
never heard anybody that plays in the NFL or college or anywhere
Say
call it a
route?
run a route.
Yeah,
I
run
think
your
that,
routes. You're not running your
I think
routes.
he runs
right.
pretty good routes already.
Exactly.
I think that they struggle to get him the ball because I think
Mark's
Minshew's
struggling with route, but
Minshew's a good quarterback, but that's it. I think Trevor Lawrence would be a little bit better, to be honest.
Yeah, but he needs receivers that are able to run their routes.
Yes. Routes.
he's just trying to drill that route.
Hey, so yeah, I mean, we have what do we have? We're going to talk about Rhaegar from the Eagles.
It's
So-
Rager, but yeah.
Can we just is routes? All right.
So these are just
Rager
ones,
running routes.
These are ones we're not going to discuss, but we're going to mention because these were receivers that actually looked pretty good or looked promising.
Yeah.
So you got Brandon Ayuk.
Ayuk.
You got Michael Pittman.
Pittman. Yep.
You got Rager.
Rager.
Rhaegar.
Jalen Rager.
Henry Ruggs, KJ Hamler,
It's-
Van Jefferson,
it's
and
Hamler.
Brian Woods. Hamburger.
And
Brian Edwards and Darnell Mooney
Darnell
up there
Mooney.
too.
Oh, that's right.
That's Mark's man crush.
So the reason why we got to throw these out here on a fantasy football show is specifically tailored towards a best ball league where you're going for overall points. You want to back up your studs with some guys that have the potential to throw up great games
To be
when your
studs.
studs let you down. So you're going to go for the guys that are going to run that 70-yard fly route towards the end of the game that, maybe they hook up and it ends up being like a quick 15-point transition. He's got a couple other catches before you know it. He's got 20-some points when, Devontae Adams throws up a stinker against a great secondary or something like that. Yeah. So you got Darnell Mooney, who's a speed guy. Ayuk, who is a possession guy and pretty speedy.
Pittman.
Rager. He is going to be probably the only person to throw to in Philly. And Henry Ruggs, I think Henry Ruggs is probably the quickest out of all the rookie wide receivers coming out last year. You get him now, second year. Aside from Darren Waller, he's not competing for a whole lot of targets there, aside from Nelson Aguilar if he re-signs there.
Brandon Edwards as well, but yeah.
Brian Edwards. What happened with Edwards? Something
got hurt.
We don't
he was
even
hurt, right?
We don't even need to worry about that. All that needs to be said is that there are 14 receivers out of 32 teams that we can list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as your top. You have another 7, 8 to go,
and somebody's going to hit next year.
and someone's going to hit. And out of those guys like Rager and your Ayuks and your Moonies and your Ruggs, Hamler, Jefferson, Edward, these guys are the ones, like he's saying, to plug in. So there is more than enough backups to your starters that can fill in those spots to get you some pretty good points.
All right.
As we're talking about points, let's go ahead and talk about tight ends.
You know what? Speaking of tight ends, we were talking about Hooters before.
No. Go ahead.
We were
And
talking about Hooters.
We love
You know
Hooters.
what's funny?
And I've never been.
kept it on-
You've
should've
never
kept it on-
been.
I've never been.
Should have kept
You've
on
never
wide
been.
receivers.
I've never
for that.
been to a
There's a
Hooters.
nice gambit here.
I like it.
you love the
Everyone here
wings.
has been to a Hooters.
You haven't been.
Yeah, because I'm not
He
really.
has a membership card. Right?
Wow, yeah.
I didn't even
that's
know they
true.
had that.
Yeah, they have that.
He gets the calendar.
And you know
the
where
whole
you
deal.
swipe? Do you know where you would swipe with the membership card?
No.
Okay, well, I'm
No.
sure you could only imagine. Continue.
But yeah, Hooters. Everybody's quiet.
I get it. Listen, I have to convince my wife to walk into a Hooters. You know what I'm saying? Before I met
You've
why
never been there.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that. I have a story, but I don't think it's, you know what I mean? But before that, my wife was Hooters. All right, and then we had
What do you mean
kids,
she
and we
was?
weren't
What do you-
Hooters
hold on.
anymore.
What do you mean
Do we
she
understand what I'm
Wait,
saying?
let me tell you, you feel
You have-
dirty the first time you walk into a Hooters with your kids. It starts to progressively
What about
feel
the
less
200
dirty. Shit, they know my kids by name. They have membership cards.
Oh, wow,
Well.
my kids. Hey, Junior, do you want some wings? I'll take milk, please.
I actually believe that.
Can I have some milk?
I don't see anything wrong with Hooters, but the only reason I brought it up is because I thought it was funny. We were talking about Buffalo Wild Wings, Hooters, and we were talking about the Drew Brees place that's opening up on iDrive.
The walk-ons?
Walk-ons, yeah, and it's a pretty cool place. But, you know, like Buffalo Wild Wings, if you walk into a Hooters and walk into a Buffalo Wild Wings, just the atmosphere of the place, it's way better in Hooters, minus minus the Hooters. And it's just like, you know, where do you guys, like, if you're in a pinch, you need to watch a game that you don't have the ticket on TV, where do you go?
Buffaloes.
You go Buffaloes.
You do go Buffalo in a pinch. Like you said, you go to Buffalo's in a pinch.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, Hooters is better. The food's
But,
better.
but
and you
how
get
many
terrible
times
service,
in
you
a
get
small
terrible
city,
food.
small city like, you know, where we're at, do you think they're going to build a Hooters?
I don't think there's enough talent in the area.
So they were supposed to build a Hooters here
In Groveland?
Don't do
They're
that.
going to build one right where the Kmart shopping plaza was.
You would know
and
that.
they got denied by the city years ago.
I'm
because
sure.
it was too risque.
Yeah, I get it. Because Club 27 didn't last long anyway.
was-
But
But
I'm saying, but if you go to Buffalo's, the girls are wearing, you know, stuff that's close to what they're wearing.
you're
at Hooters.
right. You're kind of right. And I haven't been to Buffalo's like Buffalo's and Gator. Well, no.
We were there like a month and a half
Yeah,
ago.
but so what's saying that you're wrong? I thought we were talking Gators for a moment because they would be almost the
I will
same.
never step foot inside of Gators.
Well, anyways, Harrison Bryant.
I had lunch there today. It's fantastic.
He had lunch at
Yes, he
Gators
did.
today.
Yep.
I'd like to go to a Hooters. I think I'm going to go to a Hooters pretty soon. And when I come back on this show, I
wanna
want to
hear about it.
what
Yeah.
I thought about Hooters. You guys
go to the one on iDrive.
Time, pause. But I
Yeah.
will. But we won't talk about what the actual atmosphere looks like. I'm going to tell you what I think about the wings. Yeah, that's what you guys are driving
That's
home.
all we want. Honestly, they have good wings.
That's what
I
I'm
could
going
give
for.
two-
And you know me
I
as
give
someone
two
that loves to
craps
cook.
about-
I cook. You know, I used to be a chef in my own rights at some point in time in my life.
Yeah.
I want to know how good their wings are because you guys are raving pretty heavily about their wings.
They are the best chain.
Dang, there it is.
Yeah,
the,
they're the
best
best chain wings.
Chain wings is what I'm hearing. I think I could probably, combat them with some pretty good wings at home.
You're not
But
a chain.
with being the chain, I have to go to Hooters. So I'm going to go to Hooters near you.
Yeah.
And you said go to iDrive.
Go to the one on iDrive.
Hooters. And how are the Hooters there, though?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it doesn't matter. if
it's
I'm
been a
going to the
while since
Hooters.
I've been there.
So you think they've changed the Hooterage?
I'm just saying the wings and stuff was good when I went.
Yeah, but the Hooters.
Atmosphere was good.
Okay, but the Hooters.
The Hooters. I mean, it's a Hooters. It was
Okay.
one of the better Hooters I've been to.
Okay, perfect.
You know
So
what I mean?
anyways,
It's in
tight
the top,
ends.
top half.
I need to know what tight ends.
Tight end
Harrison
Desmond Bryant. Harrison Bryant.
There are no tight.
Harrison Bryant.
There are no tight ends working at Hooters.
Well, that's fine.
You're
But
definitely
with-
wrong about that.
Well,
So,
wow.
Harris-
well said. That was that was good.
Harrison Bryant
was
of the
good.
Cleveland Browns, the tight end.
Harrison Bryant. If we look at Harrison Bryant, he's playing behind two other tight ends.
Yeah.
All right. And
You were going
two
to say
other-
quarterback.
I
weren't you?
almost said quarterback. I feel good about my quarterback. I feel good about my two running back. I feel
missed
good
that
about my.
drop.
Come on, let's bring it back. Anyways, Harrison Bryant. If we're looking at his stats, Harrison Bryant is actually 24.
24 receptions, 38 targets.
Yeah,
right?
you want to do this for me? Go ahead.
No. I mean, I feel like, the 238 yards, 10-yard average, 3 touchdowns.
What do you think about his average though?
Is average?
Yeah, his average.
Average
What
is
do you
not
think?
bad. I mean,
It's
10
not
yards
bad.
per reception for a tight end.
There it is. So he
How many
rounded.
touchdowns did he have?
Yeah.
3.
Yeah, but that's being behind two. So that means every time he's getting has the opportunity to get on, he's doing his best to produce. And that's the good thing about him. If you're looking at who he's behind, you're looking at David and Juco and Joku.
Different than we both. There you go.
And Joku, because it could have been Njoku,
And Juka.
but we're gonna go with Njoku. Njoku is a pretty.
It's
he's a
in
stud.
Dewey.
And Dewey.
And Gilly from last week.
Jumanji.
Jumanji. David of Jumanji.
David Jumanji is out here.
Like a movie. I mean,
The reality is, David Njoku has asked for a trade. He's looking to get out of Cleveland. So with that being said, that gives the opportunity for Harrison Bryant to be the number 2. And Njoku did leave. I mean, he had some receptions. He's a stud as a wide receiver. He has the build, everything it takes. But when looking at, Harrison Bryant, he might not have the actual physical attributes that it may need to take to be that guy, but being the number 2, that just means he has to work that much harder to be the guy as a number 2.
Yeah, it's hard to tell with tight ends. The reality is, Harrison did more with the percentage of plays that he was on the field than a lot of tight ends in our league. So if his percent of plays goes up, if he gets all of the reps that David Njoku got, I could easily see him getting around that 35 to 40 receptions, which would probably get him up to around 7 touchdowns. So he could be a valuable tight end.
Yes.
If he doubled his numbers here, you're looking at 48 catches, 6 touchdowns, which is great. And you compare him with the guy you're about to talk about, Kmet, 4 less receptions on 6 less targets, 5 yards difference. Average is about a yard less, so that's a little, a little bit of a difference there. But 2 touchdowns for Kmet. I mean, and people really like Kmet.
Yeah.
So,
and Bryant did that from the 3rd tight end position.
So with saying that, if you're looking at Bryant is a niche player, in my opinion. I think that you will bring him out to be, maybe right at the goal line or, right at the first down line, and you need to, convert those to a first down. I think he can give those to you. But as far as using him on the every down, he's not that guy. That's why I think he'd be a great number 2 to use him when it's time to use him. I think that's where he would shine the most, not just using him just because, we need to give this guy a break. He is very a situational tight end, and
I think that's how he was used last year. I do think that's how it was used. Yeah.
But if you look at the average per reception, he's at 10 yards per reception.
You're right. But that just
so that means he's getting downfield
correct,
a bit.
Correct. Yeah, that's true.
I think it's pretty similar to Kmet. So I mean, I don't know. I think Bryant may be a little bit more talented than Kmet, but I think the situation that Kmet's going to be in is going to allow him to kind of maybe be one of the guys that kind of explodes this year, if you would say so, at tight end.
So,
sure.
Not knowing what's going on right now with Chicago's quarterback situation, I wouldn't say Kmet's poised to explode, but he's definitely got room to grow. So the thing with Kmet coming out last year was that he probably was hands down the most talented tight end, right? Came from Notre Dame, guy had great hands, great vision, great blocking skills, which is the reason why he got into the lineup early, even though what really hampered Kmet was the fact that Pace screwed up, overpaid for Jimmy Graham to bring in an aged Jimmy Graham that was a shadow of his former self.
Yeah,
shell. When you overpay for somebody like that and you bring them in, you kind of got to commit to it, right? Just like trading up for Trubisky and sticking with him for 4 years. You're just like, shit, I made a mistake, but you know what?
Got to go with it.
Let's see what happens here, right? And not to say Jimmy Graham didn't have flashes of brilliance. He definitely did, including that walk-off touchdown that he had where he should just hang it up.
I think the roles should have been switched, and he probably been a lot more efficient.
He would have been a lot more efficient because Kmet, like I said, what got Kmet into the lineup was the fact that he could block, right? So that got him into the lineup. Then you see, wow, this guy can run. He can run really good routes. Then you see, all right, we're throwing him the ball. He's not dropping anything. Oh, look at this. He can run after the catch. He's got all the tools that you want to see in a really, really good tight end. And you saw at the end of the year, they started to utilize him correctly. And it showed. I mean, he had really good games being the number 2 tight end. I mean, being the number 1 tight end is already difficult enough. I mean, you see the drop-off after Kelce and Waller. Being the number 2 tight end, it's almost impossible to produce out of the number 2 tight end spot, right?
That's why Harrison Bryant is so impressive.
Correct.
Yeah. Right. So now you bring, as a 3rd tight end even.
And I would say Harrison Bryant can grow.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely got room to grow. And Kmet, now you put him in the situation that Jimmy Graham was in, but now you have a guy that's got fresh legs, the desire to win, and knows that he's not on his swan song. I think Kmet's primed to grow.
Rocky, what do you think about Kmet?
I agree. I actually like him a lot. I feel like the issue was Jimmy Graham was never a great blocker.
Never.
So they had to put Komet, which actually worked out to their advantage. I think if they would have used Graham like they used Gronk,
Oh wow. Yeah.
coming in for those every once in a while surprise
right.
plays, I think that would have been the best for both of the players.
sure.
I do think Komet's going to make a pretty solid number one tight end next year.
Yeah, and then
What you think?
I'm transitioning from that. I'm going right to what you were talking about the other day.
Yeah.
Is Troutman. And I mean, we heard news I think yesterday that Breeze is still kind of up in the air what he's going to do. So
Yeah, he is, which is shocking to me.
Well, I
We
think
did hear
he's-
that Jared Cook's gone.
Yeah.
Cook's gone.
Cook and
Yep,
Josh
yep.
Hill,
And
both
Josh
of them,
Hill, yeah.
which automatically catapults Troutman to the.
And very small sample size. 15
Very small.
catches, 16 targets, 11.4 average though. So that's nice and a
He's being
touchdown.
productive.
But if he's the guy getting the targets, how you feel about him?
Troutman, I think if Troutman gets the targets, I think honestly he could end up producing. I mean, it's New Orleans, right? So I mean, if Breeze comes back, New Orleans loves to throw the ball, right? I mean, you got to give Kamara his touches because Kamara is dynamic,
Right.
But New Orleans does love to throw the ball to their tight ends. Jared Cook was having a little bit of issue with drop passes. That's why they kind of went away from him for a little bit. You know, he got his act together. They started bringing. Did I say Cook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure
so
did.
all right, wasn't sure because then I got Kamara stuck in my head. So then they started bringing Cook back into the fold towards the end of the season and producing. But now you have Cook out of there, who is obviously long in the tooth. You get Josh Hill out of there. You have Troutman, second year. He came out as a highly skilled tight end. You put him in a situation where they're going to throw to their tight end, and I think he can produce. I think he's got. I mean, he's only got room to grow, right? I mean, these are second year tight ends. They have.
Yeah.
They
I
have
don't think
nothing
you
but-
can say that he's going to explode, but I
No.
think
No.
we should all believe he's going
He's
to grow.
got. He's got.
He's got
I
it.
mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
inevitable.
Where he's at, I think he only has a ceiling to go up to me too. There's no cap on him right now. But
Physically, he's Travis
Kelsey,
Yeah.
would you
I
say
mean,
that?
same height,
He's pretty
same
talented.
Would
weight.
you go?
Yeah.
But he doesn't have.
Where'd Troutman come out?
Well, I guess we have to give him some more time. We got to
Yeah.
give him some more time. But right now he's on par with. We're gonna use Kelsey as the
physically, yeah.
yeah. So
Troutman wasn't
Came
Ohio
out of
State. was he?
Dayton. Came out of
Oh,
Dayton,
Dayton.
and he's a
wow.
converted quarterback.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
it's even
I like
better.
that.
So he should know.
So they should put him, Winston, and Taysom Hill in there.
There you go.
That's crazy. That's
One-
crazy to actually do that.
The one tight end name that I'm
Play hide the pickle.
the one tight end name that I'm gonna pay some attention to.
Yeah, what
And-
tight end?
And again, I mean, it's just because I'm curious to see what happens to him. He's not been a factor at all, but Thaddeus Moss, because I remember in college, like he was like the dude right at Miami. Like
Yeah.
Thaddeus Moss had a lot of steam behind him. He goes to Washington, as we know. Logan Thomas exploded onto the scene. You know, he's buried behind Thomas, Sprinkle. I don't know if it was an injury. I don't know if it was a character situation. I don't know what it was, but I'm just thinking to myself, like, here was a guy that we heard a lot of in college. You heard a lot of Thaddeus Moss, and now
Yeah.
now
Another
all of a
guy I'll
sudden-
mention too that we don't have up there just to keep an eye on as we go into camp is Irv Smith.
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah.
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 He,
Well, I think-
he had his moments this year.
He
for
had his
sure.
moments. He's productive. He got all the brush out of the way now.
This is Irv's third year, I think, but still,
Just-
I mean,
Like monitor what's going on in camp,
Yeah.
what kind of snaps he's
Oh.
getting, but he could be a guy.
Irv Smith is going to be he's going to
The
be
guy.
Yeah,
he's going to be big time.
I think we accomplished it. I don't know how long we ran, but
it was tough. I mean,
it felt long a little bit.
hurt some feelings
It
along
did.
the way.
It
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
We'll get it. We're
I
gonna
kind of,
refine.
I'm
this.
real hungry for
Some
chicken
Totinos?
wings and
Corn dog.
dogs.
You were looking corn dog.
No,
Wow.
I'm just hungry in
The
general.
cheese-filled kind. He was.
You know,
looking.
I've been
man.
doing. I told this to Gabby this morning. I've been doing really good with the diet.
Yeah.
In fact, I had to go home and do Peloton tonight.
There you go.
Nice.
You
Who you working with tonight?
I don't know. You know, Tundra's
Tundra's
kind of my.
really good.
She's my favorite.
Okay,
Hey,
nice.
you going back
Yeah.
to Tundra?
Yeah, I keep going back for a little
Sometimes
more.
they got it. Sometimes they got it. She might
There's
have
another
it.
lady. She's a little bit more matronly, but she's like real, like calm.
Sometimes you need that.
Yeah, she's
when
like, you know,
have a tough
easing
day.
you in, and then
Yeah,
she
talk
beats
to you
your
nice.
rear. Yeah.
Talk to me nice.
But anyways, I'm hungry for everything. Like
Yeah.
I'm doing so well that I'm just hungry all the time and always on the edge
How you
of
feel.
anger.
I've had nothing but fruits and nuts today.
Yeah,
That's
I can tell
good.
your attitude.
Makes
Got that
sense.
fruits and nuts attitude.
I can agree
That was-
with that. I've
was
been
just in the
on
shower.
fruits and nuts as well. I've actually made my own trail mix as of lately because I had a road trip and I didn't want to spend too much money on the road.
So
I
not a root mix.
not a root mix, a trail mix.
So
Yeah.
what goes in your trail mix?
So what I cheated.
Definitely got
so
nuts.
I'll tell you right now, the base of it is sunflower seeds.
Really?
Sunflower
Which is a
seeds are
nut.
the base of it.
A lot
which
of size.
is
It's a
seed.
lot of carbs, but that's good carbs.
But it's good carbs. That's correct, and that's what I go with nuts for the good fats. I had some cashews in there. I had a lot of peanuts. You know, they're just the fillers. I had
walnuts?
some. I
Walnuts?
did that. Dang, you know what I'm talking about. So I had
Walnuts,
and I
pistachios, cashew, yeah.
Wow, dang, you know where I got them.
No, I'd mix them myself.
Well,
I buy them
that's
separate.
exactly what I had. And almonds. Almonds were in there.
Almonds
So
that's
what about
almonds.
fruit? Then no fruit.
So we had raisins. We had I do believe they were apricots, so they were small, orange, and I had sun dried maybe cherries in there as well.
Oh, that's nice.
And then there, it was good. It was good. I didn't eat the raisins too much because raisins are like the bottom of the bag. You kind of leave those up at the bottom, but you know what I mean.
if you don't,
And then
if
low
there's
pieces
not
of dark
dried
chocolate?
pineapple,
there wasn't.
I don't want any- I
I'm
don't
sorry,
want
but
any.
that is
You don't
great.
like dried cherries?
No.
I
Dried
like
pineapple
dried
is
cherries.
good though. Dried pineapple
is-
does slap.
That's the thing I'm still in. Like I'm basically eating all
Eating
the,
all of
yeah.
those are good. But I made a little
put
trail
that on
mix.
the
I had a
pizza?
road trip, and it was good. It was
I'm
good.
Italian.
So when
know.
you make it, you do the ones that are like raw though, right? Not,
I did.
Not
So
like
what
the
I
salted
did is
ones.
no. Sometimes they are a little seasoned. I have to have a little bit. But
I like
what I
the salt.
did is because
Salt's
I made
good.
it
Well, no,
myself.
I do too, but I mean for the sake of
But this is
being
what I
healthy,
did.
think.
I'm a salt.
Sodium's good for you. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
but here's the thing. I'm a savory, salty
you
guy.
just
So
don't mix it. You eliminate the sugar.
I like
Sodium's good for
sweet.
you.
I like salty and sweet together. So what I did is I crushed up some granola bar, some nature valleys or put nature valley. I put that in there.
Yeah.
It was good. And I've been eating that for like the last 3 days, and it has been pretty good. So I understand you with the nuts and the berries and the good
I don't
stuff.
think anybody cares about this stuff.
No, I don't think so either.
Let me just end this show with a corn dog. I want a corn dog now, and I want some Hooters wings.
Yes.
And I blame you guys for it. I do.
Hey, I will be at Hooters pretty soon. You know what I mean? I will
Can
be
you-
at Hooters. Hey guys,
Mark's
Can you
going to
deep-
Hooters right now.
Can you deep fry trail mix?
no, but you can deep fry subscribing to Ultimate Fantasy Locker Room.
Hit
on-
subscribe once.
Oh,
YouTube.
good job.
Yeah,
Well
you
done.
learned.
Well
You
done.
learned.
So you can subscribe. Make sure you guys, we do appreciate you guys for tuning in. Subscribe at your anywhere you listen to this podcast, iTunes, Spotify. Just go ahead and make sure you guys subscribe, you listening, and we have a show for you. We're trying to actually, in this down season, we're trying to bring you guys to a conclusion of where you can pick, where you can draft. But coming closer to the season, we will be able to, give you better information to have a solid team. So, thank you guys for tuning in, and see you next week.
I don't know what I was gonna do.
Arms open when I sin, I fall straight to my knees. Yeah, it's like we holding on to Reese, hating. Lacking luster from the father, cause there's no relation. I'm told to tell you about a word from God, it's not mistaken. That's why his name is always dropped in every conversation. I've been sold to his will hold, for falling short upon his